And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Low Budget Livestream. As always, I am your host, the real Gino Reynolds. This live stream, as usual, the inmates run the asylum. If you got questions, comments, whatever you want to talk about, definitely put it in the chat. AMA rules, ask me anything rules, within reason, of course. If I don't like the question, I'm gonna pass. But I'll answer anything I can. So if you got anything you want to talk about that's happening in the world of entertainment or music or whatever else you want to talk about, we can talk about it here on the show. Desiree, how you doing? I see Daniel's in the house too. Let me know if you're in the house in the chat. If you got something you want to talk about, let's talk about it. I'll explain the thumbnail soon. Let's get some more people in here because I do have a bit of a story to tell. It's been kind of a rough week ish, so we'll talk about that here in a bit. Um, oh, don't worry, Daniel. I'm sure more people will show up. Hopefully, more people will show up. But hey, if we got two people, we'll talk with two people. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about what you got here in the chat first. So anyway, again, if you got any questions, comments, whatever, um, we will talk about. Yeah, Desiree, I did see your message on Twitter. We can definitely talk about Keanu. Let's see. So first, Daniel says Toy Story 4 got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and yesterday got 63%. Haven't seen yesterday. There was a screening this week. I haven't seen it. Couldn't make it. I believe the screening was tonight, if I'm not mistaken. And since I love you all so much, I'd rather do this than drive to St. Louis to go see yesterday tonight. But I am going. The reason I can't do the live stream this week on Wednesday is because I'm going to St. Louis tomorrow. I'll be seeing Annabelle tomorrow, and that's about a week early. So, anyway, let's see. But Toy Story 4, I saw it last week. Excuse me. I got a bit of a headache and weather change crud going on, so bear with me. Um, I did see Toy Story 4. I put my review up today. Long story short, I'm not gonna heap the praises on top of it like the majority of critics. A lot of critics are claiming it's perfect, and it's not a perfect movie, but it's a very enjoyable one. Definitely watch a review. It's pretty spoiler free if you haven't seen it already. But I really enjoyed the movie. I was surprised considering uh, we all thought that part three was kind of the end, and it could have ended there because the Andy arc was over. But uh, with this new arc they're doing now, I could see them doing more. And it wouldn't be a terrible thing because we all know, especially those of you that are watching that have children or get to interact with children, like say if you don't have children or if you have nieces and nephews or whatever, you know that kids ask questions. They ask a lot of questions. And there are questions that the main little girl would probably ask after a while about certain things. And I could see that leading to a new plot for a Toy Story 5. So, anyway, I don't know if it's a 98%. I don't really play in the numbers, but I enjoyed the movie, and I think adults and uh, kids can enjoy the movie alike. I was never a huge fan of Toy Story. I like Toy Story 1. I like Toy Story 3. Toy Story 2 still my favorite. But I dug this one too. It's got a lot of good stuff going on. A little too much going on, but I did enjoy the movie. Let's see. Desiree wanted to talk about E3 and Keanu Reeves. I didn't get to see it live, but I did see the video. And all I got to say is, put Keanu in anything, and I'm interested. That dude just seems super cool about everything. And I mean, the dude is made for things like not just movies, but for like video games and the such. And having him pop up in that game and then show up on stage, pretty cool. The dude didn't even have to say anything. And I mean, that crowd lost it. And he just seems, just super chill and humble. And you can't have anything but respect for that guy. My only disappointment is that even though, yes, I know he's in Fortnite, and yes, I know he's in Payday 2, I want a John Wick game, a real John Wick game. Do the stuff before. I mean, this is a perfect way to do a prequel. Do the stuff before the John Wick movies, before he met his wife. That's the John Wick game I want. Let the movies tell the story going forward. Let the video games tell the story going back. That's what I want to see Keanu Reeves. And that being said, that Cyberpunk game does look pretty cool. I don't think I'll play it right away, but and I'm a little disappointed you're not playing as Keanu Reeves. But that being said, it looks pretty awesome. Especially, you hear that voice and you're just like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. And then the graphics for that look amazing. So anyway, and my thoughts on just seeing him pop up at E3, it's like I would have reacted the way the crowd reacted because I mean I love Keanu Reeves. So Winta says, yeah, music absolutely sucks. LOL, there's no competition anymore. It's just release a song, let it sit, and it dissolves away. I don't listen to a ton of new music. Just whatever pops up on the radio. I listen to mostly to the station that my radio segments are on, which is the local rock station. So if I hear any new stuff, it's that. But has there been any real memorable music for me lately? Um, I mean, if you couldn't tell, I like Five Finger Death Punch. I enjoyed a lot of their new stuff. I heard I haven't bought it or anything because I haven't bought an album in a long time. I listened. It was on YouTube. I listened to a lot of Weezer's new stuff. I liked it. Um, I'll listen to just about anything new, but I'm not going to go searching for it. For the most part, I usually stick to my 90s type stuff, my Soundgardens and my Alice in Chains and things like that. And of course, you can throw early 2000s like Foo Fighters in there and stuff like that, or Sponge or Helmet or Local H. I don't listen. I like some new music, but not. I don't go searching for it anymore. That being said, if I hear something good on a soundtrack or something, I always like to search that stuff out. Let's see. Daniel says, "Oh no, not another sun problem." I'll talk about it in a bit. Let's see. Bryson says, "I'm here being a wallflower." Well, I'll take a wallflower. If people want to listen, I'm happy. Let's see. Desiree says, "Rob, yep, Rob did show up." Let's see. Daniel says, "What would you rank the Toy Story with How to Train Your Dragon 3: A Missing Link?" Well, I know Missing Link would be the bottom. I would probably say How to Train Your Dragon 3 is the top, Toy Story is the middle, Missing Link's the bottom. But the top two, I mean, I liked them about the same. Being that How to Train Your Dragon was a conclusion to an arc, I think that plays to its strength. And I like the way it ended. And Toy Story, again, I can see it continuing now. Winta says, I just want to see Toy Story 4 because when you say there's a payoff to a joke, it piques my curiosity. Very few movies have payoff. Yeah, I when I was doing my review, I was that close to saying, I'm like, I'm not going to spoil that. I mean, who's involved, or at least one of the people involved, but it's a feel good moment. And again, the crowd I was with was very happy. It put a big smile on my face. It was just cool. The movie itself, again, a little sloppy, but it almost feels like there's too much going on. I felt that the established characters kind of got pushed to the wayside so they could sell new toys. But anyway, I still enjoyed the movie. I put it along the lines of the first and third one. Again, it didn't feel as special as the second one to me, but that one's hard to top. Let's see. Rob joins us from Smirking Gun Reviews. Hello, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, Rob? Glad you could join us. Um, let's see. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to Smirking Gun Reviews, do so. Still trying to get my man up to 1,000 subscribers so he can do live streaming however the hell he wants. And he's doing a ton of shows. He's been doing Monday night live streams uh, where they just, you know, talk about whatever. Yeah, it's just like this show. So go ahead and join him on Mondays. I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember what time he started. I think it was around 7 as well. You can correct me on that there, Rob. But he's been doing Monday live streams and just chatting about whatever. And so go ahead and join him there if you get a chance. Um, let's see. Winter says, "Oh, E3 Blair Witch game hype." I didn't get to see anything on that, but I heard about it. That does pique my curiosity. Um, I Well, I don't know how I really feel about it now. I mean, I haven't watched them in a long time. I liked the first Blair Witch and the newest one. The second one, of course, isn't a great movie. Um, but I am curious to what they would do with that. I don't mind them taking movie licenses and making games out of them as long as there's a good reason to do so. So we'll see what they can come up with. Daniel says, "Real rant, Forky." Forky isn't going to get much of a rant. I ranted about all I was going to rant about Forky in my review. I called him, what was it? An unnecessary necessity to the movie or something along the lines of that. I've never seen a character that is so necessary yet not necessary at all. But he still moves the plot forward. Let's see. Bryson says, Mascard 2 is my most look forward to game. If it plays on my PC, it already will be better than the first. I don't think I've played the first one. I don't get to play a lot of new games, unfortunately. Um, A, I can't afford them, and uh, and B, it's just I've got a back catalog that I got to play first. But I'm glad you're excited about that. I'm glad there was a lot to be excited about with E3. I know people, what was it, Bethesda, people weren't too happy about. Um, but a lot of what I saw, there was a lot of positives to come out of E3 this year, at least with some of the franchises and some of the game developers. Winter says, "Speaking of movies and games blending, how do you feel about the new group of movie characters in Mortal Kombat: Spawn, Terminator, Ash? If they can find a way for them to fit, I mean, you had that Mortal Kombat DC game. Characters like Ash, I mean, kind of fit in. Uh, Spawn kind of fits in. I mean, just you could see Spawn as a Mortal Kombat character. Um, I know there's been some that seem a little odd, like what was it? They had Jason and Freddy and stuff like that. I mean, it's a fighting game, and a lot of fighting games now just seem to have all the stuff mixing together. I don't know if they try to fit a lot of those into the story. It's just playable characters. If they could find cool ways to fit them into the story, though, that'd be kind of neat. Um, Desiree says, "How about Bill and Ted time travel game using killer guitar licks to create peace?" Uh, that being, if that were the case, I would probably play like early Bill and Ted and not later Bill and Ted, and the world would end. But no, that'd be kind of cool. Bill and Ted guitar game would be kind of neat. Um, just as long as the Bill and Ted game isn't like the NES one, I think we'll be okay. Let's see. Rob says, "Yeah, John Wick prequel games, yep, games plural would be tight." Yeah, I mean, there's a whole world there you could explore. I mean, I know they're making that Continental TV show, which I'm really curious about it now with the way John Wick 3 ended. Where's it going to take place or whatever? But there's so much history of John Wick before the John Wick movie, before the puppy and before the car and before the wife. There's so much there. I mean, I would love to play a third person game where you're just controlling John Wick blowing away bad guys. I mean, come on, you know, gut shot, headshot. I mean, just being able to do that in a game would be cool. I've got Payday 2, and I don't dig on first person shooters, so that one kind of, I was hoping it was third person when I bought it. I should have researched a little better, but I wanted to play as John Wick. And it's cool to play as him, but I want a real John Wick game. Um, let's see. Winter says Desiree Guitar Hero meets Bill and Ted. That'd be kind of neat. Unfortunately, Rufus isn't with us anymore because he would be a great like narrator to that game. Um, let's see. Daniel says, since you love Keanu Reeves, do you think he will make life of the party better if he came in and stabbed every character in the movie with one pencil, or just take Melissa McCarthy's place? Uh, I don't want him anywhere near that movie, and I don't want Melissa McCarthy anywhere near that movie, even though it already happened. Maybe if Bill and Ted could go back in time and stop her from making that movie and do Can You Ever Forgive Me earlier, that would be great. Also, I can't wait to see The Kitchen. Have you seen the trailer for The Kitchen? I think I've mentioned it before, but the trailer for The Kitchen, I heard about that movie. It sounded amazing. And then I see the trailer for it and it looks amazing. I can't wait for that movie. I want to see Melissa McCarthy do more stuff like that. Let's see, where was I? Bryson says, see, there's new stuff is good. As a band, they have really held up. I haven't heard a lot of their new stuff, and if I have, it's by accident because, again, when I go to work in the morning, I type in a band in YouTube, and it just kind of plays me random music. I've heard songs I had never heard before, so it might be the new stuff. Yeah, I like Seether a lot too. I really like them. Smirking Gun, Rob says, Local H, shut your mouth. I love that band. Man, they're from around here somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it is. But I remember when they started blowing up on one of the local rock stations. And I always found it funny. It's like a guitar player, singer, and a drummer, and that's it. And yeah, I've been listening to them a lot lately. I really like them a lot. Desiree says, I'm a huge Weezer fan. Otherwise, I listen to weird, obscure stuff. She also says, by the way, the Blair Witch game does look awesome, good and spooky. We need more horror games. As long as we don't get any more Slender Man, we're okay. Yeah, a good horror game is hard to come by. I mean, a lot of them, look, I understand the appeal of like Five Nights at Freddy's, and I enjoy watching people play things like that. And the story's interesting and everything, but we've gotten to this jump scare culture when it comes to movies and games. And it's just like, give us something different, give us something new, give us something more psychological. That's what I want out of my horror genre. Is more psychological things. Daniel says, have I seen the trailer for the Banana Splits horror movie? I have not. Let's see. Daniel says, do you think you will like Forky a lot more? Man, you're getting awful violent here. Do you think you will like Forky a lot more if he stabs Bunny and Ducky in the eyes? No. First of all, he's a spork, and he'd barely be able to do any damage with those little bitty things. I mean, because think about it, a spork is definitely more spoon. That being said, if it was more fork, you couldn't eat soup with it. But when it came to the likability of the characters, I liked Bunny and Ducky just about that much more than Forky. Let's see. Rob says, hopefully getting Laptop Friday, so live streams are coming back. The video quality should be improving, but I'll still be the same. If you hate my content, it'll still look good. Hey, man, I appreciate some of your feedback on movies and stuff. I don't get to watch everything. I wish I could watch everything that everybody does, but making my own content, it's hard to do that. But what I do watch here is I appreciate the insight. And like you've said, and like I like to do, it doesn't have to be flashy, whoosh bang, keys dangling and chiming in your face when it comes to your editing and things like that. It should be about what you say, because if someone's flashing things in my face and I don't give a crap about what they're saying, I don't watch. I'd rather hear someone talk intelligently about something than try to make me like their stuff because of how well it's edited. And I'm not saying I don't appreciate a good edited video, but the content's got to be there too. So you sitting in front of a camera, pouring your heart and soul into something, to me, that means more than, well, you found all these certain little things and put them all together and put the right transitions in. It's like, give me the content first, and then if you want to spice it up, that's how it should be done. Let's see. But yeah, hopefully get your laptop, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do. When it comes to editing and stuff, there is free editor programs out there. I don't use one. I have Premiere. But I know there's free ones out there. Plus, there's the Windows Movie Maker. I think it comes with it, and then if you want something like Premiere, you can always get Elements for like $100, which isn't too bad. I have that too, and it works really well. Um, Desiree says, I was so annoyed by the hate the Marvel's Avengers game got. People whining about them not looking like the actors, which the game ain't got nothing to do with the movies. Yeah, everyone wanted them all to look like the movies, and it's not. It's not based on the MCU. It's a new thing. I was joking that I had a feeling like, Sephiroth was going to show up in the trailer or something, like we are going to get a new kind of Kingdom Hearts or something with Marvel characters. But I thought the game looked cool. I mean, I'm still curious how it's going to play. It does look very action RPG, which, I wouldn't mind like a straight up RPG with Marvel characters, but when you can't control them, other than picking something on a menu, that would irk me a little bit, even though I would still probably enjoy it. Let's see. Desiree says Banana Splits movie clearly is what they wanted to do with Five Nights at Freddy's, but the creator of FNAF, Scott Cawthon, probably didn't like it and went to Blumhouse instead. But they just had to use their script. Yeah, I know he like scrapped the script like 2 or 3 times, saying he wasn't happy with it. So yeah, I haven't seen the Banana Splits thing, but if it's like FNAF, I wouldn't be surprised. I am curious how they're finally going to do a FNAF movie. I mean, is it going to play along the story of the games? Is it going to be a new thing? I don't know, but I am curious to see what they can do with it. But I have a feeling people are going to poach the idea way too much before the FNAF movie ever even gets made. Let's see. Bryson says, is The Dead Don't Die playing near you? Murray and Driver are both great with their comedic timing. Swinton was fun. Only issues I had was Metches was heavy-handed, and Gomez. What do people see in her? It's not playing near us yet. I can't wait till it does because I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a Gomez fan. I mean, I don't mind her doing like the voice acting in Hotel Transylvania and things like that, but I can't remember what the movie was, but it was the movie. It was her and Ethan Hawke, and they were in a car trying to get away from criminals or something. And her trying to act tough was really funny. Anytime she would drop an F-bomb with her voice, it just it was laughable. But I mean, I understand the appeal. She's a cute girl. I mean, she definitely fits in to like the Disney Channel mold. So I get the appeal. I haven't seen her in anything else though that I've enjoyed her in, but I haven't seen her in a ton of things. So I don't really have much of an opinion on her, but I haven't seen her in anything I've really enjoyed her in yet. Let's see. Bill says John Wick prequel game, but it's you playing with your dog. But that was in the movie. Let's see. Bill said just a retired John Wick simulator. Oh, with the new dog. Okay. It's like, oh, I guess I killed all the bad guys. Let's sit here and good boy. Daniel says, I'm not trying to be gross, but if the Banana Splits horror movie does well, maybe there will be a horror Barney the Dinosaur movie about him loving kids seriously. Yeah, I don't want to hear that. I get I know what you're saying, but okay, has anyone heard? Have I talked about the actor behind Barney on this show before? I don't know if I have. Um, but there was an article out there where, okay, first of all, I've told you guys my son likes Barney. I mean, he likes the music, and he isn't growing up as fast as normal kids his age, but um anyway, the original Barney is from Decatur. So I sent him a message over Facebook, um asking if I sent him a poster and the money to send it back, could he autograph a poster for my son and send it back? And he did. And it's still up in my kid's room. Well, a few years later, there was an article about what he's up to now. And it was like this sex therapy thing. And it was like people were paying, it was almost like he was kind of like a gigolo. Even though he's still acting and stuff. So, uh, I can't remember everything in the article, but it was, it's like I'm treating these women, and it's a really weird article. If you look it up, I don't have the link to it or anything anymore, but it's this whole article of him being interviewed about this, and it was really creepy. So when you say that about like a horror Barney the Dinosaur movie, that's all I can think of, and it creeps me out because if there's one thing I'm never going to tell my son, it's the story. And thankfully I don't let him watch these live streams. So, but yeah, it's like, I'll let him like the dinosaur, but we're not going to talk about the guy anymore. Let's see. Daniel says, Bryson, her good stuff. That's what people see in her. Rob says, I worked with the lead singer of Local H at a Subway in Zion, Illinois when they first started out and hung out quite a bit before I moved to Wisconsin. Scott Lucas, accidentally gave me alcohol. Well, that's cool. You got to hang out with him. I'm sorry he accidentally gave you alcohol. But yeah, he gave you, it continued. Alcohol poisoning at a going away party. Was sick for weeks. That I forget you only get like 200 characters in these things. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, that's crazy that you worked with them and everything. It's always funny whenever you've worked with someone or you knew someone and then they go on to do something. It's always strange. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that's done anything real huge. I did think it was kind of crazy. I was watching something a year or so ago when Channel Awesome was doing like a charity thing. I can't remember what the charity was for, and they had Doug Walker on a Chicago news station, and the anchor that was interviewing him was named Mark Rivera, and he used to work at our station. It's just always weird when you see things like that, especially in news when people leave us and they go do other things, and all of a sudden we'll get a story, like a national story, and it's someone we used to know. I always find that crazy. Not the Chosen One says, hi, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Rob says, for Avengers game, I don't care if they don't look like the MCU actors. They just need to look like the characters, not these puffy, swollen monstrosities. There were a couple I thought looked kind of big. I have only seen the trailer once. Daniel says Getaway. Yeah, that's right. That's the driving movie I was thinking of. Desiree says, I was super excited by their mini trailer with Hank Pym for Marvel's Avengers. He would be so fun to play as, but then of course people complaining about how he looked, which he's Hank Pym, he ain't Lang. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the Ant-Man thing. I will say, in Disney Infinity, it's fun to play as Scott Lang because you can turn into Giant Man, and it's just really fun to squash all the bad guys as Giant Man. Let's see. Desiree also says, from what I understand by the FNAF flick, it's supposed to be tied mostly to the first game, but trying to make it appealing to fans and non-fans. So not going to get super into the deep lore, maybe for sequels. Desiree also says, I remember hearing when I was a kid that Barney got his suit on fire because he was smoking in the suit. I don't think I've heard that. Uh, I know I've read stories where he's talking about how horribly hot it was in the soup, but hadn't heard that one. Um, Daniel says, after your last live stream 2 weeks ago, I ate Chipotle like 3 times. That's a lot of Chipotle. Um, let's see. Bryson says, I have mixed feelings towards Child's Play. I really like Plaza and Hamill, but Kledberg hasn't directed anything of note. Mancini and Dorff are not involved at all, and the premise has been changed. It's the premise that's got me curious because it's not supposed to be the serial killer and voodoo and all that stuff. It's supposed to be, I guess, this app going wrong and making it, uh, you know, Chucky has control over all the stuff that this app controls and stuff. So it could be interesting. It's just a different take. Would it have worked if it wasn't Chucky? Probably a little better, because then people weren't going to be saying, well, you're trying to remake a classic and the things like that. But I'm going to give it a chance. I'm seeing it. What is today? Today's Tuesday. I'm seeing it Thursday. Um, so I am curious about it. And I do like that Mark Hamill's doing the voice. I mean, it's Mark freaking Hamill. So, but I am curious about it. But it could be the same movie if you're just like, well, it's this AI toy. That being said, if anything, the marketing for Child's Play has been amazing, with all the posters of Chucky destroying all the Toy Story toys, being that they're opening on the same date. Bill says, I'm fine with the Barney guy being a tantric sex teacher. Consent is paramount above anything else. If the consent's there, I have no issue with it either. I mean, it's still not something I want to tell my kid about. But I don't know. The article, just to me, it's he was selling it as therapy, and that's what, again, if there's consent, they're adults, they can do whatever they want, and that's fine. But I don't know, it just seemed like he was selling it as therapy, and it was, I don't know, it's just the article weirded me out, is all I'm saying. Again, if consent's there, uh it's cool with me. He can do what he wants. I mean, it's not my life. Um, that's not something I just look at. It's not something I could do. I could not sell sex as therapy. But anyway, Daniel says, I ate Freddy's today, but I ate to go. Tisk tisk. You get more fries if you eat it there. But Freddy's is delicious. My son and I had it a couple weeks ago. We went to Chuck E. Cheese and ate Freddy's. It was delicious. Rob says, getting ready to watch Under the Silver Lake for the channel. Have a great stream. Hey, man, thank you for joining us. Again, everyone, check out Rob's channel, Smirking Gun Reviews, if you haven't already. I'm sure a lot of you have already. He live streams on Mondays, talks about a ton of TV shows. Anything he can get his hands on, he talks about, and he could use your support. But thank you for joining me, buddy. And we'll be talking soon. Me and him are going to try to figure out some things to work together. We just got to work out the times and everything. And since we live pretty close to each other, well, 3 hours, I guess we'll call close. We're definitely going to try to do some stuff together. Let's see. Bryson says, later, Rob. Desiree says, I think my only gripe about the new Child's Play is it already looks creepy. Ain't no one gonna want to buy that doll. They should have made him cuter and had his face change, like it did with the OG Chucky. Yeah, it is a creepy looking doll. That being said, maybe they'll comment on that, like the kid be like, "Why did you get me this creepy thing?" or something like that. Desiree says, later, Rob. Yeah, again, buddy, I'm glad you could join us. Daniel says, Toy Story 4 is tracking 200 million. OP Child's Play is tracking 16, 18 million. Anna is tracking 4 to 5 million. Yeah. I mean, Toy Story, of course, is going to win the weekend, and that's exactly the way I could see it going. I'm sure some movies will be Anna. Heck, Anna, I thought was supposed to get delayed, but I guess it didn't. I'm seeing that one Friday. I think they finally said they were getting it here. So, all right. So I'm going to talk about the thumbnail. Again, go ahead and get some more questions, comments. If you got anything you want to talk about, AMA rules within reason. But anyway, the thumbnail. Let's see. This would have been a week ago Saturday. I made a deal with my son. He was at his mom's, and I said, if you're good all week, you can come spend the night at my house. We could have a little me and you time sleepover kind of thing. Well, we ended up doing that, and things went fine. I mean, he was a little indecisive whether or not he wanted to go back to his mom's, but he ended up staying. We had a good time, and I took him back to his mom in the morning, and he got to go to church with his mom and everything. So then he comes back to my house on Sunday. And so he goes and hangs out in his room and everything, but he's acting a little squirrely. And I'm like, something's up here. Something's going on here. And I don't know what. Long story short, well, earlier I'd caught him looking under his bed. I said, buddy, you looking for something? And he goes, my keyboard. It's like, dude, it's right there on the end of your bed, under your bed. Oh, okay. I'm like, is he hiding something from me? So anyway, we have dinner and baths and all that stuff, and we're chilling, and all of a sudden, knock on the door. Okay, who could it be? And I look out the peephole, and on my deck are not one but two police officers. Okay, now it wouldn't be the first time police have come to my house. Years ago, we had a peeping Tom, and they've come and asked us questions or whatever. So, okay, I open the door. It's like, can I help you, officers? And one of the officers leaning on my deck, and I was afraid to tell him not to lean on my deck because, I mean, it's a sturdy deck, but if you lean too hard, you could break the side. And I didn't want him to fall, but I didn't say anything. But he's leaning on it, looking at me like I'm dead meat. And he's just giving me that scowl, right? But the cop at the door goes, he goes, we got a phone call saying you need to go to jail. I'm like, what the hell, right? I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, just a million thoughts in my head. First of all, my first thought goes to my son, because it wouldn't be the first time he called 911 just for giggles, right? Because he doesn't understand fully that he's wasting these officers' time, right? But I'm like, see, when my son's at my house, I have my phone on me or near me at all times because he is not allowed to use my phone because of what's happened. I don't have a landline. I have the one phone, and it's usually in my pocket or in my hand whenever he's not in his room for the night, or but if he's out and playing or whatever, I always have it. And I'm thinking to myself, did I leave my phone out just for a little bit? Did he call? And then I'm thinking, well, I dropped him off early. Did I hit and run somebody and didn't realize it? I'm thinking all these different things, right? I don't know what's going on. Just a million thoughts a minute in my head. And he goes, yeah, we got a call from a 10-year-old boy. My son's 11, named Andy, saying you need to go to jail. And he's at the door, of course, and he's just all of a sudden big smirk on his face. And I look at him and I go, buddy, did you call the police? Yeah. I'm like, when did you get my phone? Because I swear I had it on me the whole time, right? So the police understood. I said, look, this has happened before. It's like, if you need to talk to me, we can talk. No problem. But I said, he's done this before. He doesn't understand. And of course, when they start talking to him about it, big smirk on his face. And I know that smirk, like he's just like he knows what he did and he knows it's wrong. But when he does it, I don't know how wrong he really knows it is, but he knows it's wrong. He knows he's not supposed to do it. And the police officer says, you can't do this, son. And he goes, sorry, we had to bother you. But I said, dude, I understand. You got a call, you come. And I'm like, how did he call? Right? I'm thinking, I have a few older phones in the house, but they haven't charged up in forever. But you can still make emergency calls from them if they're charged up. But it's like, no, they're all where they were. I'm like, how the heck did he do this? So I take him into my room, and it's daddy son talk time. And I go, son, when did you get my phone? Earlier. I'm like, maybe I did leave it. Maybe I screwed up. And as I'm talking to him, all of a sudden I hear what sounds like a phone alarm coming from his room. And I go, huh, son, what's in your room? And he goes, nothing. It's like he's got something in his room. And this alarm's going off. So I go into his room. I take him into his room. I look in his closet. Nothing seems out of place. And I think it's coming from his dresser. And I was like, open your dresser. And he doesn't want to open his dresser. But then it sounds like it's coming from his bed. And it's like, okay, he was under his bed earlier. And he go and I look under the mattress and I don't see anything. And then since he's got a smaller bed, so I'm like, I call my other son and I'm like, get under that bed and get whatever's under there. And my younger son goes under there, and before he even comes out from the bed, he goes, Nana's phone? I'm like, Nana's phone? I was like, when did my mom come over? When could he have gotten my mom's phone? He hasn't seen my mom in a week, right? Like, what the heck is going on? And then my son comes out, and it's this pink phone. When he had lunch with his mom's family, they had an old flip phone. The ones where you flip them up and there's a keyboard there? One of those old phones. And sure, it doesn't have service anymore, but it can call an emergency call because all cell phones, service or not, can call emergency calls. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. First of all, I was angry. I was angry at him for stealing it. I was angry at my ex-wife for letting him steal it. I was angry at everyone. It's one of those where it's like, you're staying in this room. I'm going to that room before I blow up on everybody. So I go in, I call my ex and I say, come get this phone. And I get a little bit of runaround, but then I'm like, no, come get this phone. I want it out of this house. She understood after that. But yeah, that's my story of almost going to jail a week ago or so. But anyway, it was a rough week and dealing with that because he lost his electronics for a few days. I want my son to learn that he's going to be punished when bad things happen, but he's not punished forever, because I don't want him to think that life is over when he does something wrong. He's got to know he's got to deal with the consequences. And he lost his electronics for Monday, Tuesday, and he had to earn them back all the way through Wednesday night. Hard job for an 11-year-old that, loves his iPad and loves watching movies and stuff like that. So it's, he got his punishment. I mean, I know, I used to spank my kids, but I figured out that and look, I was spanked when I was a kid. I think I turned out okay, but I found that taking things away from my kids works a heck of a lot better than spanking them. So anyway, he was punished for a few days. He earned it back, and he's been doing pretty good since. So anyway, that's my story. That's why the thumbnail is me standing in a jail. I know I didn't go to jail, but man, I thought I was going to jail. The police station's not too far from my house. So anyway, that's my story. I thought I'd share. Let's see. I'll go back to the chat here. Daniel says, who is Anna supposed to get delay? Oh, I don't know why it was supposed to get delayed, if that's what you mean. I just thought I heard something about it getting delayed a week or something like that. I don't remember what it was. I think it was to push it away from other movies, but then again, it's opening the same weekend as Toy Story. Let's see. Bill says Disney at the box office is like the second half of a Monopoly game. That's true. That's very true. Not the chosen one. What's the deal with airline food? Don't know. Never had it. I've only been on one round trip flight in my life, and I had peanuts, and I ended up with migraines on the way there and on the way back. Thank you, cabin pressure. Um, Bryson says upcoming Stephen King adaptations. Looking forward to It Chapter 2. Me too, a lot. I do dig that new trailer. Um, Apprehension, Doctor Sleep. I just watched a trailer for that today. I'm not the biggest fan of The Shining. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad movie per se, but I mean, at least it's not like a sequel they made up. It's a book sequel. So I'm curious about it. He said the book was really weird, didn't care for it. And I've never read it, by the way. Also, it necessitates Dick Holler and being alive. Yeah, I haven't read the books. I've only seen the one Shining movie. And again, I'm not the biggest fan. Dano says, geez, didn't know your son could get dark sometimes. I wouldn't call it dark. I would call it his lack of understanding. Um, he can be hard to deal with sometimes. But I'm finding ways to get through to him, and I'm really proud of that because a lot of times he wants a reaction out of you. I think he thinks that I wouldn't say pain is funny, but I think he thinks that anger is funny and stuff like that. Like if you drop something and it hits you in the foot and you scream, he thinks it's funny. That being said, you watch it on TV, yeah, it probably is funny. But if someone's really hurt, like when I was in the hospital, he didn't really understand that. Wait, Daddy can't get up, things like that. But so yeah, I wouldn't call it dark. His champ one, I think, warps his understanding of certain things. But then again, I'm finding ways to get through to him through talking him down, and because if I stay calm, he calms down. It may take a while, but it works. It's been working, and things have been going pretty well when he's at my house. Bill says they make fake phones that shock people. I don't know if I want to get them from my son, but that's funny. Desiree says, I would not be handling that well at all. I would be going full on Latina rage. I cannot deal with that level of misbehaving. Hey, a little Latina rage wouldn't be an unwelcome thing here because I get headaches and feel sick when I get angry. And I'm afraid it's going to kill me one of these days. That's why I have to do things the calm way. You want to come and yell at my son? Please come to Decatur and yell at my son. Daniel says, when you mentioned about your son and the thumbnail, I thought at first that your kids went to jail, but thank God it didn't happen. Part of me almost told that cop, take him to jail. See how he likes spending the night there. But I'm like, no, I better not say that because he might do it. Andy has had to ride in the back of a cop car once when he ran away from school. And I'm sure I've probably talked about that. But he had to ride in the back of a cop car, and I'm sure he probably enjoyed it. Let's see. Daniel says, did I take my kids to see Pokemon Detective Pikachu? I took my youngest, Ryan. We're waiting till it comes out on video before I show Andy. It's hard to take Andy to a theater. Now, if I've seen the movie, which, most times I don't take them to first showings because that way I can see it, review it. And then if I want to take them, I can take them. And then I don't have to worry about it if they need to go to the bathroom or if they want to leave or whatever. And that's the thing, I think. But anyway, it's hard to take him to the movies. So anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I've had a headache all day. So, Daniel says, I wouldn't let Desiree yell at your kids because they don't know her. So no, I'm kidding. And I was joking, but, and that being said, my son doesn't know a stranger. So he'd probably say to Desiree, hi, what's your name? Desiree, we're friends now. That's how Andy works. And honestly, that's why I have to keep an eye on him because it's like, dude, you can't talk to everybody, but anyway, if you guys got anything else, you want to talk about, definitely put it in the chat. Daniel says, I don't remember you telling us that Andy was in a police car. Yeah, I thought I talked about him running away from he ran away from school one day. The cops had to be called because they had to chase him off school grounds, and the police were called. And then they escorted him back to his mom's house. That's the basic end of it. They the cops tried to pick him up, and he flopped on them. I'm like, oh god, Andy, they're gonna cuff you. And it's like he's 11, but he was fine. But the cop, because the teachers can't grab him, even though I think that's BS. It's like if he's going to run on the road, I don't care if you tackle him, keep him safe, right? But anyway, but yeah, if you got anything else you want to talk about, put it in the chat again. AMA rules. Is there any? I'm going to look at some news stories here. I haven't really been up to date on everything. So I'm going to take a look at some news stories and see if there's anything interesting to talk about, and you guys can throw some stuff in the chat there. Let's see. Not much. There hasn't been a ton of stuff going on. Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School is getting turned into a reality show. Fantastic. Let's see. There was almost Spider-Man horror movies in the 1980s. Let's see. Max Landis is in trouble again, or maybe it's the same trouble. But I know a lot of news on that just came out today. Netflix reveals record-breaking stats for Sandler Aniston murder mystery flick. That's because everyone wants to talk bad about it. They always talk it like it's like everyone wanted to watch this. It's like, yeah, but it's because they want to pan it. Let's see. Not seeing many more news stories. Not a lot going on in entertainment. Oh, this one kind of ticked me off. I saw this earlier. The Emmys nominations are being whatever. They're like the whatever you want to call it. People are submitting their scenes and their actors and movies and everything for the Emmys, and the prison fight scene from the last season of Daredevil can't be in whatever the best scene or whatever because it was too long. It was too awesome is what it was. And that kind of irked me. That irks me about, it's like, it's a scene. It's one complete scene. There's a Blade Runner 2019 for a prequel comic coming out. That'd be interesting. Anyway, that's about all the oh, here we go. Robert Downey Jr. wants to see the comic character Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, enter the Marvel Universe. Probably happen sooner than later. And that's about all I see going on in the news. So if you guys got anything else you want to talk about, definitely put it in. Let's see. Where was I? Let's see. Okay. Daniel says, all you said to us is that he was having an episode of school and you and your mom trying to get him out of school. Okay. I talked about that one. And my mom didn't break her knee. She just kind of twisted it, and she was fine a few days later. I mean, her knee was sore, but she definitely hurt herself, and I had to call for it. Okay, I talked about that one. Well, this was a different one where I had to show up, and his mom showed up, and the police showed up, and I can never remember what all I've talked about, which will probably come to bite me in the butt later in my internet life. Let's see. That's right. I remember talking about that one. Yeah, this is a different incident where he ran off from school. It's like I said, I pretty much said everything that happened. Bill says Kevin Smith wrote Chris Hemsworth a thank you letter for Fat Thor. That's awesome. I mean, even though I had a few issues with like the introduction of Fat Thor with the whole Fortnite thing and all that stuff, it's like I like the character. I mean, I don't want to see it again because I think I'd like to see Thor get back to the way Thor was. But I did enjoy, and I did like that when he got, whenever he got his armor and everything, they kept him that way, even though somehow we've mentioned this, that, a hairdresser took care of his beard. Apparently Magic Lightning does that. Let's see. Desiree says Stranger Things is getting a Pokemon Go style game. I've never seen that show, and I know everyone's gonna be like, what? You didn't see it? I just haven't had a chance to watch it. I did order a Stranger Things item though, or items on the Coca-Cola website. They have Stranger Things themed bottles. But if you order this 4-pack, you get 2 bottles, 1 Coke Zero, 1 Coke. They have like the Stranger Things logo on it. That's not what I got it for. They have 2 cans of the new Coke formula in cans, so I got that. I wanted it for that. I haven't tried them yet because they messed up my order and I had to have them fix it. And they finally fixed it. I got the missing one I had today. Um, but anyway, I have bought that, but yeah, I've never watched Stranger Things. That's one you'd think I would. I'm a kid of the '80s, think I would, but that's everything seems to be getting a Pokemon Go style game nowadays. I played the Jurassic World one for about 2 minutes, but that one's lazy because the Jurassic World one you can send drones out to capture the dinosaurs for you, so you don't have to go walking. You can sit on your couch and capture dinosaurs, and then doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? Um, let's see. Daniel says, "What are your thoughts on Mr. Ratburn getting married on Arthur?" I haven't seen that. Uh, I mean, my kids watch Arthur. I haven't watched a lot of the newer ones. Yeah, I don't know the story about that. Let me see. I mean, I'm sure there's controversy behind it. Let me see what they say. Oh, whatever. That show breaks a lot of barriers, so why not? Doesn't bother me at all. That show is always breaking barriers. It's been breaking barriers for a long time. Uh, what was it? The letters from I think Buster's parents, the rabbit. I think his parents are no. It was somewhere he traveled and he stayed with a gay couple. I don't care, whatever. I mean, it's a. When I say I don't care, I mean I'm not saying, you know, that I don't care. I'm just saying if it happens, fine. It's normal. That's what I mean when I say that. Um, but yeah, that show's broken barriers for a long time. I remember in elementary school, the author of those books came and visited our school, and it was early in my school career. I'm talking like third or fourth grade or something like that. Um, so Arthur's been around a long time, breaking barriers for a long time. You know what? There needs to be more stuff like out there because look, people can believe what they want to believe, but there's a world out there and things happen in this world, and you can't shield your kids from everything. Yeah, you should shield your kids from bad things, but there's people out in the world that aren't like you. If it, say you're straight, that's great, but there's people out there that aren't, and that's great too. So I'm fine with a show like that breaking barriers. I mean, I know there's probably people out there that are crying about it. You know what? There's a world out there, and that show represents it. That's all I got to say about that. Um, let's see. Where was I? Bryson says in a recently released horror trailers, Ready or Not looks really good. Three from Hell, I was really disappointed. It was only a teaser considering the hype zombie was building for it. I haven't seen either of those trailers, teasers, whatever. A buddy of mine was telling me about Ready or Not, said it looked really good, and I haven't seen the Three from Hell one yet. But yeah, that's stupid if it's only a teaser, but he's probably just trying to hide the plot or something like that. When it comes to Three from Hell, Desiree says Hemsworth also sang "Hurt" by Nine Inch. I love that song. I prefer the Johnny Cash version, but I do like the Nine Inch Nails version too. Desiree also says Paul Rudd wants to have a GoFundMe for Ant-Man 3. Do we really does Disney need a GoFundMe? I guess they're talking about not making it. That's unfortunate. My son and I just watched Ant-Man and the Wasp last weekend, and he really dug it, and it was still fun watching it a second time. It's not my favorite, but it is still a fun movie, and I'd be surprised. I'm surprised they wouldn't make another one, at least one more. That being said, they'll probably just keep him in whatever Avengers film they do. Daniel says, "What is your worst movie theater experience and best movie theater experience?" Everybody. We'll see. Worst. Boy, I don't know if I have a worst, but man, there's been lots of bad ones. Okay, the worst one. God, no, I don't know if that's the worst one or not. There was everything from the crying baby at the Deadpool screening, and then the critic yelling out loud, wanting attention, calling this person out for having a baby at a rated R Deadpool 2 screening. There was the three douchebags uh, playing on their phones during that Apocalypse movie that had Seth Rogen and all them in it, playing themselves, whatever the name of that one was. I can't remember. And they were all lighting up the theater like a Christmas tree, and then the one jump scare in the movie scared one of the kids, and he jumped up and was grabbing the ceiling like one of the animated cats in a Looney Tunes cartoon, and we all laughed at him, and he about cried. Okay, that one was a good one. In the end, there was the one where people are taking texts on this side and phone calls on this side. I don't even remember what movie that was, and then everyone else was talking. Uh, there was the one where there was plenty of empty seats, yet this girl and her boyfriend just had to sit right next to me for some reason and make out halfway through. I believe it was either the one of the Conjuring movies or one of the Insidious movies. I can't remember which one, and I had to move, and they acted like I was disturbing them. So there's all sorts of bad ones. The best theater experiences are just the ones where people don't talk the entire time. Where everyone leaves their phones off, where everyone, doesn't disturb the theater. Those are just my best experiences. That and some experiences where I'm in the theater by myself. Those are always nice. I mean, uh, I like watching movies with a crowd, but then when the crowd is being cool, you know what I mean? Whenever they're not, being disruptive to the movie. There's a difference between being enjoying the movie, especially if it's a comedy or something, laughing out loud versus being annoyingly disturbing. Um, so anyway, those are some I can think of. Bryson says Escape Room 2 has had its release pushed from April 2020 to August 2020. Now we have to wait longer for that shit to come out. I was enjoying that movie until the end. I didn't, not saying I loved it. It was a PG-13 Saw. I mean, that's all it was. But I'm not surprised that it made money. So of course it's getting a sequel. But hey, now you got to wait longer. Desiree says, I'd be okay with Riri if they had introduced her early in MCU. That's going to get backlash like in the comics, probably. I honestly think the new Iron Man's going to be the kid from Iron Man 3, and they're going to do some form of Young Avengers. They're kind of setting it up because you've got Ant-Man's kid, you've got Iron Man's daughter, you've got the kid from Iron Man 3. There's a few kids they've introduced. I have a feeling we're going to do some kind of Young Avengers. It may not be the Young Avengers from the comics, but I think they're going to do some kind of Young Avengers. Oh, and Donald Glover mentioned his nephew. So could they introduce Miles Morales? Maybe. Let's see. Bryson says, sorry. Spawn's production seems to be stalling. Todd McFarlane says he's still waiting on final script approval. Yeah, that movie is going to take forever to get perfect, and hopefully it is. But why don't we just go back and watch the HBO one? Because that's really good. Desiree says, also I had an epiphany the other. Oh, Donald Glover is Miles Morales' uncle in Spider-Man Homecoming. There's now 5 years has passed because of Snap, and Miles and Peter get a teen team up. Yeah, could happen. But I don't know. Did Miles get snapped away? We don't know. And we don't know. I have a feeling that all of the students, all of the important students got snapped away. So that way they're all still, because that was the one weird thing. It's like, why is this friend still in high school? It's 5 years later. Well, he probably got snapped away. And so did MJ, and so did Flash, and whoever else is important. But yeah, let's see. Bryson, I would love to see the two Spider-Man team up, just like in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. Bryson says, and things that should not be happening. Chris Rock is rebooting Saw. Yeah, I heard about that. I'm not kidding. Along with producers. Yeah, I heard they were rebooting it. Why? I mean, Jigsaw was, I wouldn't say that was kind of not a reboot, but let's continue it. But of course we have to move on because our main villain's been dead for 3 movies, however many it was. even though I do like the reveal in Jigsaw, but that was the last I ever wanted to see of any Saw movie. But yeah, of course they're redoing Saw, and it'll probably be even more predictable and violent than ever. Because you got to the first couple, this and the story all throughout, especially with Jigsaw, was interesting, but the the whole thing with after I think part three, you knew who was going to die. It got so predictable, where the first few movies was kind of unpredictable, and it actually helped. But then it became ultra predictable. You knew it's like, well, gee, the plot needs to move along, so this person's gonna die. I mean, it wasn't interesting anymore after like I think the third one. Um, let's see. Let's see. Desiree says, I don't like Saw. I mean, the first two flicks at least had a message about humanity embracing life. Then the rest just became violent for sake of violence. Exactly. It's like, how more violent can we kill these people? Um, it's like, oh, of course, this trap's going to happen because people want to see what it looks like when metal goes into someone's eye or whatever. Um, and then the whole thing, the BS of them saying, yes, I know Jigsaw uh, didn't kill people, but come on, he kind of did. Whenever there's traps like what was it, the 3D one where they had the merry-go-round and three people had to die. Well, you caused the death of three people. Granted, I know that I think that was the protege or whatever, but you get what I mean. People in these traps, some of them had to die. There was one where a guy had to pick between two people. Well, one of them going to die, you know? And yes, you led to that. So you are responsible. Yes, you didn't slit their throat or whatever, but you killed them. Um, so yeah, it got violent just to be stupid violent. Um, Daniel says, ooh, if I was you at the showing when the couple were making out, I would watch them instead of the movie. I just kept looking over to him, just giving him that. Really? Look, okay, they didn't even give me a courtesy seat. There was plenty of seat. This was in the local theater in the big auditorium, and there were plenty of seats. And why they sat next, I think they were doing it on purpose. I had a feeling I was like on Punked or something, but yeah, I finally just moved, and I just couldn't take it anymore. But and it was like they were having discussions, like he was mad at her or something, and she's like, "Oh, please forgive me." It's like crying out loud. It's like, do this anywhere else, even a seat over. It's like you could have given me a courtesy seat. I don't know you. It was it was weird. Um, Bryson says, I had a great crowd at Undercover Brother. Daniel says, just like what happened to one of Brad's friends when they watched Mr. Popper's Penguins at midnight. I know there's a story. I haven't heard it. I don't get to watch everything everybody does, as I mentioned earlier, but I never saw that one. But I heard there was a story behind it. Bill says Aunt May and Happy Hogan didn't get snapped according to Russo's poster. So did they get together in the 5 years? I have a theory about that, and it's along those lines. It's like a lot can happen in 5 years. There could be something there, maybe with Peter disappearing. She needed a shoulder to cry on. You're not going to get a hold of, you're not going to get a hold of Tony Stark, but Happy Hogan is a nice guy. It could happen. I could see that. And, that's a nice little twist on the story. So I could see that being a thing because they do kind of flirt in that trailer a little bit. And maybe they haven't told Peter yet, by the time that movie's happening. So who knows? Desiree says, I noticed that. I was talking about the Peter's buddies getting snapped too. Yeah, it's like, yeah, the plot dictates it. I guess they had to get snapped. I think it would have been interesting if they would have moved along like the friend or something. I mean, I know they want to keep them all together, but it would have been an interesting dynamic having this character. His buddy's been gone for 5 years and then he's back. Granted, they'll probably play that with Aunt May. So, I mean, and then of course they played it with Iron Man as well. When he saw Spider-Man, he's like giving him a big hug and everything. So so they kind of did that, and they don't have to do it with everybody. But I think it would have been neat to do it with another one, like one of his friends, where they've moved on to college or whatever. Let's see. Bill says Zendaya has red hair now as a tribute to Mary Jane. Yeah, I seen that. I I don't think they did it for the. I don't think she had that in the trailers though. But yeah, I saw that. I think they could have done that for the movie. It looked pretty nice. Daniel says Chris Stuckman has an amazing crowd at his screening for The House at the End of the Street. I think that's the one he did the video about crowds. I've seen that one a long time ago. If I'm not mistaken, that's the video. Um, Bryson says, if Saw gets any more violent, it becomes hostile, and somewhere Eli Roth is pulling a Paul Rubens the back of a theater. Oh, what a thought that is. Yeah, it's hard to imagine Saw getting more violent, but you never know. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, hey Scott, how you doing, buddy? Glad you could join us. What's up with the AMC in Mount Zion that has a really bad smell? I don't go to that one very often, so I can't say I've noticed that. I don't know. They didn't really do much to the building when they turned it to an AMC. It was still the old Strand, pretty much. They didn't put new seats in. They put the new Coke machine where you can mix all your favorite Cokes together. But that was about it. I haven't noticed that. I go to Forsyth more often, but yeah, I couldn't tell you about that. Maybe someone hid something in there a long time ago and no one ever found it. Um, let's see. Daniel says you should watch Midnight Screens, Mr. Popper's Penguins. It's hilarious, and it'll surprise you if I can get caught up. I'm still trying to get through Jessica Jones. I'm got like 5 episodes left. Part of me, it's hard to watch because it's like, is this even going anywhere? No, of course not. But anyway, Daniel says also sorry that your kids don't go to the Avon Theater a lot and have to go to both AMC theaters. The only problem with going to the Avon is I don't have A-list there. And we do go to the Avon every now and then. It's just been a while. With A-list, I save more money. I just have to do that. I don't have a ton of money, so I got to do what I can. That's what I told Skip, the head of the theater. It's like, don't take this as a slight, me not coming to your theater. I'm only doing this because A, there's less people at these AMC theaters and I don't have to deal with as many people. And B, I can't afford to pay for movies all the time now. So I got to take whatever advantages I can get. I do like going to the Avon. I do like the popcorn and stuff there. It's just, I can't really afford to go see movies there. And plus, sometimes the times work better going to the AMC theaters for me. And plus, again, the A-list thing, $22 a month now for 3 movies a week. I pretty much get to cover everything. And, if my son goes, I've built up points, and plus your subscription to that builds up points, and I can't pass that up. Bill says a lot of horror franchises get more ridiculous and exploitive as they go on. Saw, Final Destination, Leprechaun, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, they got to top themselves. I mean, I remember when Jigsaw came out. A buddy of mine at work, my friend Kui, she was like, I watched Jigsaw and the traps were just, or I think she watched the trailer. She's like, the traps seem wonky and generic. And of course, spoiler alert, the traps you're seeing are the first traps. It's the first test. So of course it makes sense that the traps and everything aren't going to be crazier, but and I actually enjoyed that. I thought that was a good story because it's like, wait, Jigsaw's dead, but wait, there's Jigsaw. Oh wait, we're talking about the past here because of course it's Saw and they jump time periods all the time. But anyway, yeah, horror movies now just, they have to do more and more and more. I mean, that makes me wonder about the Child's Play movie. First of all, and I have to look. I don't believe it is. Is the new Child's Play movie even R? I'm sure it is. It better be. I'm gonna look. Yeah, okay, it's R at least. All right. I'm honestly surprised it's not PG-13 though. With however many horror movies are becoming PG-13 now. But so I'm guessing it's going to be horribly violent. But we'll see. Yeah, all horror movies just have to get crazier and crazier, especially movies under the quote unquote torture porn mantra. or genre or whatever you want to call it. Desiree says, I'm convinced. I convinced my ma to buy 2 cases of Dr. Pepper Darkberry that was made limited edition Far From Home. I love that stuff. I'm gonna be heartbroken when it's gone. Yeah, it is pretty tasty. I had it the other day. I'm trying not to drink so much pop, but I did have it, and it was pretty good. Also, the I know this doesn't have anything to do with the Far From Home things, but the 50 flavors Liberty Brew Mountain Dew is actually pretty good too. It tastes like melted popsicles, which is not a bad thing. So that one's pretty good too. And again, I'm looking forward to trying my new Coke. I have 2 cans of it, and I'm gonna chill them for the weekend. Um, let's see, where was I? Daniel says, "Is the popcorn at the Avon Theater better than the popcorn you ate when I saw Hellboy?" Well, yeah, the Avon Theater popcorn is really good. Of course, you know, I mean, nothing would have made me enjoy Hellboy more, or except a good movie. Um, let's see, Desiree, talking about horror movies that get ridiculous. How about Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich? Puppets are Nazis. Is that the newest one? I know they're doing another one. I've seen the first few Puppet Master. And I didn't they fight the Nazis in one? Um, I There were so many of those, I can't keep them straight, but I do remember enjoying the first few for what they were. Um, but anyway, Dale says they didn't know ANC Stubbs A-list lets you pay for your kids ticket also. Oh no, it doesn't. What I'm saying is I get my movie and I can see your movie repeatedly. It's not like Movie Pass where it's like you can only see the movie once or whatever. No, but by the time me and my kids go and see a movie, I've saved up points from my subscription and stuff, so I have points that pays for the kids ticket. No, it doesn't pay for the kids ticket. That being said, they are talking about doing like a family option eventually, which I probably still won't do because I don't take my kids to the movies that much. And what I'm doing, I've barely still. I mean, I pay more for the popcorn than anything. But no, they don't let you do the kids tickets also. But they are talking about doing like a couples thing, which at a discount, and like a family thing, we're up to like I think it's like 4 people. I know that's come up before. So anyway, sorry if I didn't explain that right. Desiree says, "Will Chucky have crazy robot powers? Go full Terminator?" Yes. I like that they're barely showing anything of that movie. They've only had one line come from Mark Hamill's Chucky. It's like, hey Andy, or whatever it was. I'm glad they haven't showed us too much. I'm curious. Desiree says, "Oh, what if it is tied to the Terminator? Skynet is what turned to evil." From what I understand, the new movie isn't even going to be Skynet. I guess Skynet is shut down because apparently it gets rid of the third movie. So from what I understand, the Skynet is supposed to be like shut down because of what happened in T2, and then a new company has come forward and like stolen their technology, and at least it's not Genesis 2. I'm just happy about that. And Sarah Connor's back. Let's see. Desiree said, yes, new Puppet Master. There's like, what, 19 of those? Daniel says, what is your favorite food or candy to get at your AMC theaters? I don't buy a ton. I usually I get the kids pack because it's like $8 and I get a small popcorn, small drink, and I can replace the candy for like $1 and get whatever I'm in the mood for, Twizzlers or something, whatever I'm in the mood for. I can't eat that much anymore, so I can't get like the big popcorn. It's kind of pointless, but kids pack just enough for me. Anyway, again, if you got anything more you want to talk about, definitely put it in the chat there. If you're watching the stream and you haven't commented, definitely comment. Let me know you're here so I can say hi. And if you got anything you want to talk about, AMA rules, we can talk about anything within reason. Also on the channel, again, my Toy Story 4 advanced review is up. I did a playthrough. It was requested by Paul Green to play Streets of Rage on Genesis, and I did that. It took me like 3 or 4 tries to finally beat it. I had to put in a 9 guys code. But then all of a sudden I did really good and only lost like 5 guys. Go figure. But if you got suggestions for games, I can't play everything. I don't play a lot of new stuff. But if you got suggestions for NES games, SNES games, Genesis games that you want to see me try to play on Gino's Bad at Games before I start another big series, I've got, let's see, how many new series do I have planned? I don't want to spoil what they are, but and by the way, if you haven't watched, I just finished The Force Unleashed 2, uh, which was a lot shorter than I remember. Um, but I've got like one, two, like 3 or 4 series planned for Gino's Bad at Games, but I need some games to some like one-time play, one-day play games to sprinkle in there. So if you got any ideas of stuff you'd like to see me play on that, let me know. We're going to go ahead and look at the rest of the chat here. Again, if you want to get anything in, I'll stay as long as you guys want to stay, as long as the comments keep coming in. But other than that, we'll probably wrap up soon. But anyway, let's see. Desiree says, I usually just get a coffee at the theater. I'm a simple gal. Hey, nothing wrong with coffee, especially if the movie's boring. But no, I don't like eating and drinking a lot in the theater because I don't understand, especially when it comes to a reviewer. If you leave during the movie to go pee and you miss something, that might have been something that sways you on a movie. So I really try not to do like eat and drink a lot in the theater because I don't want to miss anything. And if I drink coffee, I probably I might have an issue. Let's see. Bill says, I have that Forky, why do I exist energy. Why do you say that? What's funny about Forky is they have this running joke about him being trash. It's like, you're a toy. I'm trash. You're a toy. I'm trash. It gets a little old. Thankfully, it stops. But yeah, they have this whole I'm trash thing. He keeps trying to jump into a trash can. It's kind of funny. Daniel says, I know that it's sort of weird that I'm talking about your AMC theaters. I only have one AMC theater in Albuquerque, and they put that sort of outside of the city, and that's why New Mexico doesn't know AMC. I'm kind of surprised that AMC ain't in every town known to man, since they're like the game and they've bought everybody else out, Carmike and every one of the big theaters. But let's see. Desiree says, Aero Acrobat. I love the hell out of that game growing up. I remember playing it a long time ago. I might look into that. If I'm not mistaken, that's Genesis. Or maybe they did it for all the systems. I can't remember. I'll look into it. I am looking for some to play another Gino's Bad at Games Revenge. There's a few games I got some ideas that I want to play through and cheat the heck out of them. Because those are fun whenever I just overpower myself and blow through the bad guys in about 10 minutes. Daniel says, in Albuquerque, we have four Cinemark, 3 Regal, 1 Icon, 1 Flix Brewhouse, and 1 AMC. Yeah, most of our stuff's AMC. Bloomington has like I think a Landmark or Cinemark. Whatever. There's a few different ones in Bloomington. But Champaign has or Savoy has a different one. But Decatur and Forsyth areas, AMC, Springfield's all AMC. Are definitely taking over. Bill says Kevin Hart is making a Scrooge remake. Not surprised. Can't say I'm excited about that. I'd rather see Kevin Hart in more subdued roles or smaller roles. That movie he did with Bryan Cranston was actually pretty good because he was very toned down. And I enjoyed him in that. And then anytime he's just in a movie for a little bit, I enjoy it more. A little bit of Kevin Hart goes a long way. Desiree says we got 2 down here, but on far sides of town. I assume you mean AMC's. Daniel says the AMC we have in Albuquerque was a Carmike, as was our 2 theaters here, and they got bought out. And then the one in Champaign was also a Carmike. They had just rebuilt. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're selling it. Let's see. And then Daniel says, what about a 50 Shades of Grey? Just stop right there. Fifty Shades of Grey remake starring Kevin Hart and Melissa McCarthy. No. I'd rather see Melissa McCarthy do better things. And I have a feeling that she's in the part of her career where she's going to get to do better things. And that makes me happy because she's freaking talented and was getting wasted for years in stupid movies. All right, guys. If you got anything else you want to talk about, definitely put it in. Other than that, I think we're going to wrap it up. Desiree says I had Arrow Acrobat from SNES. Yeah, I thought it was on the different systems. It's hard to remember what was exclusive back then because everything seemed to be going to both systems. One of the games I think I might play for revenge, even though I beat it on both versions of the or both stories on the Genesis, was the Jurassic Park game because the controls in that game are atrocious. I beat the Raptor thing first, and then I beat the Alan Grant one second. And I would love to cheat my way through it and just plow through dinosaurs with Alan Grant. I think it would be funny. Dan says, "Wait, you have an AMC theater that shut down or closed." Decatur and Forsyth had the Strand and the Hickory Point Mall 12 or whatever. They both became AMCs, and the Champaign Carmike, which they had just tore down and rebuilt, became an AMC like months after. So they had nothing really closed. Not around here. But anyway, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and end it for tonight. Been going about an hour and a half. If you got any other comments, especially suggestions for Gino's Bad at Games, you can put them in the comment section below whenever this video, whenever it finally renders and processes or whatever you want to call it and finalizes. And if you got anything else you want to talk about, then definitely put it in the chat. And you can always message me on Twitter or anything like that if you want to talk about something and for the next show, or just want to talk about something on the channel or whatever. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. This headache is killing me. So I think I'm going to go ahead and shut her down for the night. But thank you so much for joining me. As always, I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you for showing up every other week to hang out with me on the Low Budget Livestream. Until next time, I'm your host, the real Gino Reynolds. See you later.